Adult movie usage is down 47% since the introduction of the Online Safety Act. But not in my house, it's not. All I did was download Surfshark for less than the price of a coffee a month, and trust me, that is more than paid for itself. 10 times over. Honestly, it's the gift that keeps on giving. I just click on Surfshark on my phone, click on I'm now in America, and then I don't have to do all of this, enter your age, enter your ID. I don't want to send a picture of myself, I just want to see some big boobs. But whatever you're into, Surfshark has got you covered, and it is the easiest app to use ever created. And also, if you want to watch boxing and football, this app is going to come in handy. You know exactly what I'm on about. And it works on all of your devices, so what the hell are you waiting for, lads? Just click the link in the description below, go to surfshark.com/Geordie, and you can get the ultimate game changer for your everyday entertainment in Surfshark for less than the price of a coffee a month. And that includes 4 extra months of Surfshark when you use my link. So not only are you having a good time, you're helping us keep the lights on and make more good content for you. This is a no-brainer. It's a win-win. So do me a favour, get on it. Now, by now, you probably all know that P. Diddy, he's not a great guy, is he? Like, yeah, sure, he got found innocent of some stuff, but none of us were coming away from that court case going, actually, he's all right. And if there's one person who definitely agrees with us on that, it's 50 Cent. You see, 50, well, once upon a time, he had a very serious thing going on with this girl called Daphne Joy, the mother of his cute little baby boy right here. Now, things didn't work out between 50 and Daphne, and for some reason, I'll let you be the judge of that, she decided, you know what, I'm going to go and get, as Diddy says, turned out by P. Diddy for lots of money. And for those who don't know, that means getting a train ran on you. Now, despite this happening after 50 Cent and Daphne had separated, 50 took that personally, making videos such as this one appear on his Instagram. You see Diddy there dressed in the Johnson's baby oil dress, which, I mean, he would have been a big fan of. Loved baby oil. That's one thing we learned about him. Probably the best thing about him, considering the list is it's bad. But 50 wouldn't stop there, you see. For some reason, Diddy, around the time of his arrest, thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be exonerated later, so I'm going to film all this, and then I can use it in my big comeback later when I'm not in jail. Didn't work out the way he thought, and it turns out he went to jail for a few years. All right, he didn't get the full amount, but he still got a few years. And 50 Cent somehow managed to pay for the footage off of the videographer. Probably Diddy's worst nightmare, this. It's got to be up there. Now, we're going to get into what's in the actual documentary, and fucking hell, it's something. But let's quickly take a look at 50 Cent's press tour, where he looks like a kid at Christmas right now. I've never seen a man this happy when it wasn't on, like, the day his kid was born.
How did you get that footage of Diddy?
I figured most journalists would not disclose their sources.
50 Cent's a journalist now, is he? He's ruthless.
Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt he knows.
Oh, God, he's bad to the bone, isn't he? What 50 Cent is doing right now is basically a lesson to us all, right? Maybe we're just not hating enough on the people who are shit to us. And the documentary starts out with Diddy panicking about his public reputation just days before he was due to get arrested. On the phone to his lawyer, trying to come up with strategy.
We need the core theme to be, you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong on any front.
By the way, these conversations, the lawyer had no idea he was recording them. So when the lawyer's like, yeah, we need everyone to believe you did nothing wrong, it kind of takes away from when the lawyer is out in public saying, yeah, my client is completely innocent. And now he's showing the behind the scenes where he clearly didn't think he was very innocent. So not Diddy's smartest move. However, throughout this journey, you'll see he makes a lot of crazy decisions.
I don't think it's working. I listened. I've been a superb client, as you said. I jumped on the plane. I'm coming to New York, but I'm just running around waiting for a shoe to drop.
He's shitting himself right now, in case you can't tell, and he really doesn't look good.
It's the middle of September, and there's still no indictment.
Bro, then you have to have a spokesman. You have to have some sort of comms to constantly be pushing that, Mark. Because you may just be a person that you just may watch CNN. You know what I'm saying? And there's 9 billion people in the world, and 7 billion of them is on Instagram and TikTok.
He's basically trying to get control of the narrative. That's what he's really worried about. He wants public perception to be, this was all bullshit. Unfortunately for him, we had all seen the CCTV of him beating the shit out of Cassie. So, we know you're not a good guy, man. That's out there. A statement from your solicitor is really not going to change that.
We have to find somebody that'll work with us, whether they're from this country or from another country. It could be somebody that has dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business of media and propaganda.
We need to brainwash some motherfuckers right now, and we need people who are used to working with the dirtiest of dirty, because that's what he is, and he's admitting it. How could you let this footage fall into the hands of 50 Cent, my guy? And honestly, it always comes down to money with Diddy, because Diddy didn't get rich just because he was, you know, clever in music. Diddy got rich because he robbed people all the time. And him not taking care of the people around him, it just comes back to bite him a million times over.
It's like we have a movie, you're speaking this language, and you know what I'm saying, we need subtitles. We're not providing the audience with subtitles. And I invited you to this movie, and you in this thing, you don't know what's going on. You just see, you just see the images, you know, quickly. Now, it has a whole life of its own.
I gotta say, this whole doc was edited well when he said you just see the pictures and they cut to the CCTV. Well done, 50. You nailed that, son. If you're going to take him down in style. So you get a clear window from the jump here into Diddy's psyche. He doesn't give a fuck about Cassie or any of these girls. He doesn't give a fuck about anyone. It's save yourself mentality, and it's crisis mode. And you can see on his face, like, well, you know he's got a drug problem. This is at an all-time high of his drug taking, surely, because he is stressed as fuck.
I'm not a referee. So I'm gonna get off the phone right now. Listen to me. I'm gonna get off the phone right now, and I am going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution. No matter what, no matter what nobody said. Let's just here and there, y'all are not working together the right way. We're losing.
He is stressed to fuck, this guy. And this is the thing, he's in that mode of like, just throw as much money at these lawyers as possible. You figure out a solution. You're professionals, you got to do it. Just figure something out, okay? Get me the fuck off with this shit. And it does show he always thinks he's got hope. He always thinks there's a way out. And that's a common theme throughout his entire life. And 50 takes us through that entire journey on this documentary, right? Every breadcrumb he lays for us to specifically go through all of the dirty deeds this man did to those around him, his so-called friends, his loved ones. He shows how from an early age he would stop at nothing to get what he wanted, and there was no one he wouldn't climb over. And if there's anyone he learned some of that from, it seems it was his mother. Here she is here, and like, they just had a weird relationship, bro. She beat the shit out of him, like, really badly, to the point where the other kids in the neighborhood, like, still have, like, nightmares about this shit. Let alone him. He was not raised with love. And not only was she clearly not very loving, but actually as a role model with him not having a dad, because his dad was a drug dealer who apparently was murdered, just to spice things up even more, his mum would throw these insane parties. Sound familiar? And he understood that they came to her spot and that she became influential because of that. So while he might have been getting a beating off his mother, he did learn something, and not necessarily a good thing. Then we're introduced to this lady here who's actually in a music video with P. Diddy initially. She seems to have been potentially one of the first alleged victims of Diddy in the way of a sexual attack. She's very emotional, and for that reason it does seem very genuine, but she doesn't go into detail about what happened. All she says is that it was told to her that people had seen videos of him with her naked. But she doesn't recount any memories. She just reads a letter that her mum wrote to Diddy's parents, which in a documentary like this, which I'm expecting to be like a tell-all, for you to not tell all and just sort of go down the, my mum wrote this, it felt a bit off. If you're on here to say what Diddy did to you, then say what Diddy did to you and what your memory of it is of it. And there was none, really. So there's no way of knowing if she's telling the truth or not. You would assume, since all of these people have come forward, that there's an element of truth in it. But I just think it was a bit strange the way that was done. They just say that Diddy denied all wrongdoing, and then they move on to how Diddy really became famous for the first time, which I wasn't really aware of. And I had no idea how fucking dark it was going to be.
Just wanted to throw a celebrity basketball game in Harlem.
I was at the game. I was on the floor. All of us was there. Every rapper in New York, right?
And because there were so many celebrities at this basketball game, obviously all the kids in the neighborhood wanted to be a part of it. And he didn't charge a lot for tickets. So you can imagine a lot of people wanted to get in, and that caused a mass crush. And the event that Diddy organized, I think 9 people died at it because it was so like badly arranged.
We were on the court, warming up to play, and then Dougie Fresh grabbed the mic and said, "There's people that are dead."
Absolutely fucking terrible. Imagine this. These are just a bunch of young kids going to a basketball game and boom, people are losing their lives.
We have a emergency over here.
There's Diddy there. This is something he's arranged and people are dying there. And I have to say, the way he moved beyond that with just utter ease, I think was a sign like this motherfucker is more ruthless than anyone will ever realize. And because of the packaging he came in, like if you look at the way Biggie, Tupac and them, the way they carried themselves, it was a lot more designed to be intimidating. Diddy wasn't trying to be intimidating in a physical way because he knew it was pointless. He was just a little skinny dude and he wasn't the main character at that point in his life. But really, he was the one, the ruthless one, the one who really had that psychopath mentality. Biggie and Tupac were actually like decent people to some people, right? They weren't the bad guys that they sort of portrayed themselves were to that degree. He was the real fucking bad guy.
To people of my age and to people in my community, whatever must be done to ensure that this never, ever, ever happens again.
And Diddy, knowing that these people could later, sue him and come after him for money because he organized that event, he was very careful of what he put in his own name from that point on. So he was moving criminal-minded as a teenager almost. And making sure this never happens again was not on his agenda. Making sure that he never pays the price for it was the agenda.
He's going into this music business thing. He just left school, and now this extreme tragedy has occurred. She's like, did he make the right decision? And I saw him put his hands on her, call her a bitch, and slapped her.
And I think you can tell a lot by the way a man treats his mother. And look, to be fair to him, her relationship with him wasn't great for her own making. And she certainly put her hands on him when he was young. So I think this is a complicated fucking situation. But the fact that he was slapping her in front of people like no fucks given, again, that's his own mother. If he'll do that to her, then who the fuck is safe? So then Diddy starts Bad Boy Records, which is the label that Notorious B.I.G. and all of his stars were signed to. But he puts 75% of the company in his mother's name and 25% in it in a guy who he starts the company with. And if you're like me, you're probably thinking 25% to another guy. Like, I never knew there was anyone else who started Bad Boy. Yeah, me neither. That's because he was basically threatened with his life to relinquish those shares at a later date. But we'll get onto that. Now, the way Diddy ran Bad Boy was the way he'd learned to run it from his previous experience in the music industry, right? He'd picked up a few things all along the way. You promise the artists that they're going to be rich and famous when you really are only going to make them famous and you're the one who's going to be rich because you own all the records and you are getting all the money. And they take us back to a time where Tupac and Biggie were actually friends and that Tupac was the bigger star early on, far bigger, and he would let Biggie come on tour and like open up for him and perform.
Pac was developing thug life, this ideology of taking back our communities. Big was with that. He felt it. He resonated with it. So they had a connection.
And that connection was something that Diddy was very envious of. Because Diddy was Robin to Big's Batman, right? He, in front of the camera, Big was the star, Big was the artist. And yet Big looked up to Tupac because Tupac was where he wanted to be. Tupac had walked the walk. So you can imagine if I'm behind Big and I want to be a star like these guys, and yet Big is looking up at Tupac, then how inferior do you think Diddy felt towards Tupac? Tupac was one of the most talented rap artists of all time. Also, he was in the movies. He did a movie with Janet Jackson. Like, he was seriously charismatic. He portrayed an image of a gangster image, which is what Diddy always wanted to be. But he didn't have the credit in the bank the way Tupac had it. And with Biggie and Tupac getting closer, there was a serious jealousy that formed in Diddy towards Tupac. And you can see where this is going, can't you?
Recording artist Tupac Shakur was shot 5 times last night in a robbery attempt.
After surgery, his condition was upgraded to satisfactory.
So Tupac got shot 5 times in the same studio building that Diddy and Biggie and all of those guys were at. Tupac is convinced that Diddy is involved, and also Biggie. The way the story goes on, it looks more and more like Biggie wouldn't have known anything about this, but that Diddy was pulling the strings. And the thing that's always hit me about the original Tupac shooting where he survived the 5 shots initially, when he really was sure it was Bad Boy behind it. When you get shot that many times and live to tell the tale and you're pointing the finger at these guys, it's not for no reason. And the fact that they didn't try and rob him, this was not random at all. This guy had like thousands of dollars worth of gold on him. This was a hit, and a hit that failed the first time, and by the looks of it, succeeded the second time Diddy went for it.
One day, it seemed like out of the blue, My door opens up. Sean walks in. He had a baseball bat, had a big attaché case suitcase with the snaps on it. The stocks were there.
We in a fucking hustle. We in a grind. Do your job. Whatever you're ready.
He wanted me to sign my 25% over.
Yeah. He basically strong-armed this guy out of his money. This dude could have been worth millions, absolute millions. And Diddy basically went, don't worry, I'll give you it back later, and forced him to sign it over. What a business partner. Good dude, good dude. And as bad as that is, like, you find out later that he sexually assaulted this man as well. This is why, even if Diddy wasn't guilty of some of the things in the court case, you're like, yeah, whatever comes to him, he deserved it. One way or another. He's earned all the shit that he takes. And this is why we got a back 50 on this. Absolutely. Diddy ruined people's lives. That's quite clear watching this. And ended people's lives. We are then introduced to the legendary mobster in the rap game, Suge Knight, the owner of Death Row Records. This guy was potentially as crazy as Diddy was, but actually probably not as bad. Like, that's when you know you're pure evil. When Suge Knight is a bit of a good guy compared to you, fuck me. Now, Suge Knight already had Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. He went out and signed Tupac after getting him out of jail. He paid like a whole bunch of money just to get Tupac out of jail. And then they made all of those hits, California Love. It was crazy. And the competitive energy after Tupac as well getting shot, in his opinion, by these guys, and them being at opposite pillars of the rap game on East and West Coast, it was reaching boiling point. And one thing that comes across quite clear on this documentary is that Biggie did not want to escalate things. He actually wanted to try and simmer things down before it got out of hand.
Sean tried everything to get Biggie upset. He had to go at him with business. This guy came at us.
I was more in the mind frame of keep your mouth shut, Big. You know what I'm saying? Just don't feed into it. If you feed into it, it's gonna do nothing but escalate. You know what I'm saying?
Biggie never wanted to be an enemy to Pac.
Now, despite Biggie not wanting to escalate things, Tupac was. And Diddy being the psychopath he wasn't going to stand for that. And Diddy had connections to the Crip gang of California, who were the arch nemesis of the Bloods, who Suge Knight was connected to. And Diddy made it clear to the Crips that I want Tupac and Suge Knight dead. Let's do a deal.
He tells you, seriously, man, I need to get rid of these guys. I mean, he's looking at you in the eyes and he's like scared. Yeah. You tell him we'll do it for $1 million, and he's like, okay, I'll do it for $1 million. Yeah. He agrees, you shake on it or something like that. Yeah.
And the $1 million deal was made between Diddy and the man you just heard on the recording, Keefe D. Now, Keefe D was the uncle of this guy, Orlando Anderson. And he had apparently tried to snatch a death row chain weeks before the Mike Tyson fight that Tupac would later be shot and killed after. Tupac spotted him in the hotel lobby, and the whole death row squad go after this kid. And you can kind of see on the CCTV footage right here, this is where we capture Tupac and them jumping this Orlando Anderson guy and getting the boots in there. I think that's Suge Knight putting the boot in. And they actually show that there is even a paper trail for what was going to go down that night, because Diddy hired multiple cars to go and assist them.
And to this day, it stands out in my mind. Why did we rent multiple cars? Why did we hire people from Harlem and other locations to drive?
I think we all fucking know why. This guy's not the quickest. You've had 30 years to make your mind up on this, mate. Come on now.
So what directed your attention to him was some girl shouting at Tupac?
Tupac! He gave himself away. Otherwise, he would have got away. And he leaned over on the window. We rolled down the window, popped.
So that's this guy, Keefe D, confirming that he was in the car when they killed Tupac. He doesn't say he pulled the trigger himself. He blames that on someone else. But the issue is, I'm pretty sure everyone else in the car is now dead. He is the only one who survived, and he's been telling it on podcasts ever since. But what really nails what happened in this documentary is the confirmation that the payment from Diddy for half of the full amount, for the million, because they didn't kill Suge and Tupac, they only killed Tupac, that was paid by Diddy.
And D-Mac says there had been a payment from Combs to Keefe D, but it had gone through Zip, and then that money was never forwarded.
Criminals are just not really good at forwarding on money.
Ultimately, Zip dies from cancer.
Imagine that. So the guy who took the money on for him dies of cancer. He never sees a penny of it. And you literally killed one of the greatest human beings to ever grace music. And that's such a tragedy. These fucking talentless, useless twat bags took from us someone who, at the age of just 25, left a mark on hip hop that will never, ever, ever be beaten. There'll never be anyone like Tupac. Not moving forward with this lot. No fucking way. You know, this is a generation where they call Drake the GOAT. No disrespect, but there'll never be another Tupac. And actually, what really sickens me is, you know, after a lot of this went down, Diddy's career went from strength to strength. And yet, even with the added, 30 years now that you've had from the death of Tupac, you will never, ever be looked at the way people looked at Tupac. You'll never touch people the way he did. You will never be half the star that he was. And it's just sad when jealous little twats steal someone away from their friends and family and their fans over their own horrible, dirty little insecurities. And look, Tupac was talking a lot and he knew the risks, but still, it was just not necessary. Not when you look at the fact that it was supposed to be Tupac versus Biggie, and Biggie wasn't wanting to go this road, clearly. Which brings us on to Biggie's shooting, because we can't prove that Diddy had anything to do with it, but he certainly didn't protect Biggie, and he certainly didn't seem to give a fuck after Diddy was dead. If anything, I'd go as far as to say there's not a person on the planet who benefited more from Biggie's death. That's Biggie's car right there.
That's Biggie Mill. That is Biggie Mill. Y'all get down. That is Biggie Mill. Somebody got shot.
Imagine we got actual kind of footage from the moment they took Biggie's life.
I was following Big's lead on we're going to do this peace tour. And, it didn't work out.
And that's the story Diddy told after Big was killed. Because Big was on the West Coast where clearly tensions were very high. After Tupac had been murdered in the way he had, there was always a potential for a retribution killing. And instead of Diddy letting Biggie do what he wanted to do, which is get the fuck out of there, go over to London and do something else away from California, Diddy encouraged him and pretty much forced him and said, no, you got to stay here and promote the next album. And Biggie stayed there on the instruction of Diddy. And a lot of people now look back at that and go, bit weird that, innit? That your biggest and best music artist who has just been involved in such a violent end of another rapper's death, who was based where you are right now, and you're encouraging your guy to stay there. It's just not smart. At best case, it's not smart. Worst case, is Diddy up to no good again? And I remember when Biggie died and the way Diddy went on as if he'd lost his best friend in the world. And then you look at what he was actually doing behind the scenes when Biggie died, and it just makes you sick.
Sean clearly didn't do all that he could have done to help out in the investigation. In fact, he was a hindrance in the investigation. Puffy was kind of stonewalling people from talking.
He didn't give a fuck. Maybe he was even in on Biggie's murder. Because interestingly, what we find out in the documentary is that the minute Biggie was dead, Diddy was looking back at all of these papers that had been agreed with Biggie on his new deal moving forward, which would of course impact massively what Diddy was going to make, because Biggie's record sales after his death were about to go through the fucking roof. They'd literally just released a new album, weirdly titled Life After Death. So Diddy gets all these papers out, starts forging fucking signatures, changing details that were in the deal, so that Biggie remained on his old contract. So the money that was going to go to Biggie's family was a lot less, and Diddy was going to gain a lot more from Biggie's death rather than his family. That's the level of insane piece of shit P. Diddy is. But at least he threw Biggie a really good funeral, right? He had all the streets packed with everyone. He spent a lot of money on the funeral, right? Right?
Sean said, we're going to do the biggest funeral for Biggie that New York has ever seen. And we start to put that together. He starts to see the price. And he says, we're going to do the biggest funeral, but Biggie's going to have to pay for this funeral.
He's just such a good guy. Biggie has died, most likely as a retaliation for a hit that Diddy put out on Tupac. You've essentially caused the death of your own friend, supposed best friend. You then change the contracts, so you get more money out of that death, and then you charge him for his own fucking funeral after he's already made you all this money. We're getting to almost impressive levels of arsehole here, where you're almost I'm kind of amazed at what an arsehole you are. He's in the Olympics of arseholes.
Days later, I'm fired.
It's like I feel empty inside without you being here.
And this is a meme that a lot of people are copying because, when Biggie died, it's so obvious the way Diddy used this as an opportunity to insert himself as, yeah, I'm the replacement star. I am bad boy. I'm the star now. And although Diddy might have been Robin to Biggie's Batman, all of a sudden, Robin's in the Batmobile and he's like, I got this from here. Don't worry. I'm going to assert myself as the star now. And he performed and people ate it up and they took his word for it. You're his best friend. Now we got to get behind you. We got to love you now. And from that moment on in 1997, used that launch pad to catapult himself to a level that he would never ever have reached if it wasn't for the death of Biggie.
I do not own a gun. I do not carry a gun. The charges against me are 100% false. I had nothing to do with a shooting in this club.
So you thought that was it, right? Yeah? Yeah? Not long after the murder of Biggie, Diddy found himself embroiled in yet another shooting. It's funny how he just seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, innit? This is the period where Diddy got with J-Lo, back when J-Lo was in her prime. And it was a prime that lasted a long time. I've got to give her credit. She was balling. And he took her to a nightclub and him and another one of his young artists were there and they had guns on them.
I was shot in my face.
There was a woman named Tanya Rubens who claimed that Diddy shot her.
She saw Puffy Combs pull a black gun about the same time as Shine pulled his. Then both Combs and Shine fired.
Now, Diddy hired lawyers to represent Shine. And he had his own lawyers. And it seems like Shine's lawyers were being deliberately terrible in order to ensure that Shine, this kid right here, took the fall and Diddy got off free of charge. And it worked. Diddy escaped yet another situation where he could have done life in jail potentially. So we're barely at the year 2000 in the documentary and we've seen like beating up his mother, sexually assaulting women, people being crushed to death due to his irresponsible planning. Biggie and Tupac both killed. And now a girl gets shot in the face and his mate takes the fall for it. And as you go through the documentary, 50 keeps holding up at the start and the very end of each episode. By the way, this is what he's doing jail time for, and this is the only amount of time he's serving. Just to sort of remind you, like, this guy is so fucking bad, and he has gotten away with pretty much literal murder. Like, it ain't even up for debate for me. He killed Tupac. He didn't pull the trigger, but motherfucker, without him making that call, offering that money, he killed Tupac. He did it.
Diddy made it clear that I was the looker.
So this is clips from a TV show that Diddy was involved in where he would do a talent show, you know, he'd build a band and then he'd produce them. And Diddy took a special kind of liking to one unfortunate woman in the band and she reads out some of the messages that he would send her.
I don't want to just fuck you. I want to turn you out. I'm gonna finish watching this porn and finish masturbating. I'll think of you, happy face. If you change your mind and get ready to do what I say, hit me, happy face.
I don't know if he's thinking, if I send a happy face, it's sort of a bit less vulgar.
God bless Diddy. God is the greatest.
It's an interesting one, that. If you're going to send like the most disgusting things to a woman, adding on the end, let's not forget here. Come on now. God is the greatest, am I right? Still thinking about the dirty shit I said before, right? Okay, I'll give it a while. I just thought maybe it would make you think I'm less of a degenerate. Nah, fair enough. Hey, God, what a guy. What a guy. We then get a little bit more on the dynamic between his long-term wife, Kim, and his girl, Cassie.
Puff was introducing Cassie to a life that she had never thought she could have.
Cassie, say hi to the people.
Hey, people.
Say hello.
Why are you talking like Mickey Mouse?
And this just was blowing her mind.
And Kim was around, too.
Yeah, Kim was definitely around.
And they both were very in the knowledge of what their roles were to this man. One woman wasn't enough, and you better just fucking accept that.
To us, Kim was the wife. She got them kids, that's Kim. We looked at Cassie as wifey. Even in the streets, you get to have a wife, and you get to have one girl.
This bit blows my mind, right? Because he's doing the photo shoots for whatever the fuck, right? And he's got his wife next to him. And then she just walks off the side and then Cassie comes over and I'm like, mate, it's broad daylight out here. What are you doing? You really think this is going to fly in the long run? Do you even know women?
Kim would catch your attitude. Go to your bitch. Or have your bitch do that.
Like right there next to each other.
Yeah. Kim, we need you by yourself.
Honestly, look at
I
that.
ain't gonna say
Look at
she
them.
ever-
Knowing fine well that they're that close to each other. And he is just balls deep in both of them every fucking day. It's mad. I just think it's so hard to keep one woman happy. Why the fuck would you try and do in close proximity like that. What the fuck are we doing here, bro? And after establishing that situation, 50 then introduces us to one of the male escorts that Diddy would hire for his legendary freak-offs.
I had a friend who kind of thought that I would make a good gigolo.
Do you know you? I think you'd make a fucking good gigolo, you. Was that friend a woman? Because I can't imagine any of my mates suggesting this for me. I can't imagine a woman suggesting it either, unfortunately. Never happened. So there's a sign.
She put me together with like a whole package on like different places online.
I fucking knew it was a woman. I fucking knew it was. Manhattan Men official website. High-end male strip club. Okay, so that women are getting to have a little look on stage and then try before you buy.
She asked me to come to a Manhattan hotel. I believe it was the London Hotel in Midtown. Woman opens the door and she's absolutely beautiful.
The whole point of like male escorts, right, is you're probably not shagging the kind of women that you'd maybe ordinarily would prefer to shag, right? Putting it nicely. A woman like that is going to pay you to fuck her. Imagine you get in a situation where you're looking at a woman like that and going, you want to pay me to... Okay then, no problem. She's like, do you want to discuss what I'm going to pay you? Nah, it's fine. Whatever you're willing to pay. Put a donation in my little cup here. Thank you very much, because I'll be happy. Whatever. Just, right, you ready?
She tells me that I'm there to please her for her husband. You know, they're married. They like to spice things up. This guy comes down the stairs. He had like a shirt tied around his face, and he kind of threw on a fake voice to make himself sound like he was from the South. And he went by the name of Frank Black.
He took that from the Biggie name, Frank. I think it was Frank White he used to call himself.
She would have me put the baby oil on. I remember putting it on like a normal person. She took the bottle and said, no, that's not enough. All over me.
Like she knew exactly what the fuck she was doing here. She was in control.
Then she would kind of step back and he would direct her to pleasure herself while she watched me. She would ask him if she was allowed to give me fellatio, and he would always agree. That might last an hour or so until she and I could have sex.
Fucking hell. She was sucking his dick for an hour. That might be longer than every blowjob I've ever had combined. She's a fucking marathon woman, her.
The process was always heavily regulated by him. Turn 10 degrees more, 10 degrees more. Slow down. Step towards the candle a little, grab that dick. Step back a little bit. Ain't it pretty?
It's just all these little details, man. It's fucking weird.
Tupac song will come on, and he said, babe, change that.
Can we not have the guy I murdered on? I'm trying to get my freak on here. Come on. A freak off, sorry. Freak off. That's the one. Good old Missy Elliott popped into the head there. She would have loved a freak off.
The intercourse would usually last maybe 4 or 5 rounds, depending on how many times she climaxed.
Oh, no. This is the one thing that I've always said about Diddy. These girls who were doing this for best parts of a decade, he was paying all of their fucking bills. And they've been multiple times, these male escorts have been like, yeah, they fucking loved it. These girls were fucking coming 24/7. She was having fucking 6 orgasms a night here. As much as I don't think Diddy treated her well, I do not class her as a victim of sex trafficking here. She was in a long-term, twisted up, toxic relationship where she was, and this is the important bit here, fully consenting in hundreds of these sex parties. And unfortunately, because the government got greedy and they wanted to get him on a RICO case, which this never was, it was only for his personal enjoyment, because if they get you on a RICO and they say it's a whole criminal mastermind thing, they can take all your money, which is why they tried that. They never went after him for what the most obvious thing he was guilty for, which was the violence against women. We've seen that plenty of times. That's not up for debate. But there's just so much evidence that these women, particularly Cassie, were fully consenting that they were never going to get him on that.
It was a little under 2 days, maybe 18 to 20 hours. And they gave me about $6,000.
$1,000 an orgasm seems fair.
I went to see them every 2-3 weeks. I was involved in this for a little over 8 years. The weirdest thing was they used to physically collect my semen in a cup. They collected my semen for like a year.
For a year. Diddy's a cum collector. You get people, they're like Pokemon cards. This guy likes cum, just collecting it in his little pots. Because apparently, he liked to play with it with her. It's just disappointing, isn't it? I like Bad Boy for Life. I was somewhat of a fan. I didn't know he was out here collecting cum.
It was creepy from the beginning, but after a while, I just said, yo, what are you doing with my semen? And he told me, I like to see her play with it and drink it. He's like, what's wrong with that? I was like, to each his own.
When me and my girl are out on a Friday night and we want to have a good time, we drink Blue Dot Syrah.
It's just so weird looking back at the way she's just like smiling, just so happy, and then like this is what the nightlife's like. But again, she was with a guy who at the time was basically a billionaire. She made that trade in her mind of like, I'm gonna get everything paid for. I'm living like a billionaire woman, and this is part of the gig, and she accepted that.
Every March 9th, the day Biggie got murdered, they would fly me to wherever they were. I would hang out, drink, and party with them for 3-4 days while I had sex with Cassandra.
Happy Biggie Day! Happy Biggie Day!
I don't know if that was his release for that day or whatever.
Oh, God. Remember, like, Diddy would get fucking high as shit, right? Now, every time we say this Happy Biggie Day shit on his old social media, we know, like, yeah, you're really going to celebrate the death of your friend, huh? In style. Was he getting absolutely blasted out of his face because of some of the guilt that he lives with over that whole situation? I think possibly. Because, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, this is a pretty fucking weird way to commemorate the death of a loved one. You know, you're just watching the prostitute give back shots to your missus like, it's what Biggie would have wanted. I'm not so sure.
Another time they started arguing and he punched her dead in the chest. She flew across the room. I said, holy shit. One time in Miami, I was having sex with him. He gets jealous and he just runs and jumps on top of her and starts going.
Fucking hell, man. This is what I'm on about. They're just crackers. Now, after establishing that crazy relationship, 50 then takes us into the more recent years, where a producer who was working as a young kid looking up to Diddy sees a shooting take place in the offices.
Boom, boom, 2 shots. I'm like, yo. So I'm going through sounds. I'm like, this can't be. You know, it's like, okay, maybe I hit one of those gunshots on a keypad. I see Justin and Puff walk out.
This is his own footage.
He was in there just bleeding. He was bleeding out.
So this kid literally witnesses a shooting at work. Now they get the guy out of the building, the guy's bleeding, and they basically, Diddy convinces this young producer, you didn't say this happened here, all right? And this kid then takes us on the journey of what it's been like working with Diddy in recent years and just how drugged up he's become. And you see it in some of the footage.
It's been taking me fucking ever to get back to my exact tone. Because I got so big, I could hear myself rapping.
He's just absolutely out of it. And that's like constantly. And it wasn't enough for Diddy to just be on drugs himself. He made sure that everyone around him on his yacht was also being drugged, whether they wanted to be or not.
We were all on these products, whether we knew it or not.
And this poor guy, he kind of alludes to the fact that I think he might have been sexually assaulted.
There's a lot of things that happened to me I just don't even want to speak on, you know what I'm saying?
Unfortunately, this guy is just one in a line of many who was assaulted in one way or another. And not just that, he also fucked him out of his money. He was owed hundreds of thousands for working with Diddy. He didn't get paid a fucking thing. We're then shown this woman again who reads out an account that someone else said that they seen of her out of it, drugged, where Diddy and another guy were sexually assaulting her. And it feels towards the end of the documentary, 50 is just laying on every last layer to bury Diddy. So there can be no doubt of what his true character is, because I think 50 knows in future, Diddy is going to want to come back into the public eye. He craves it so much, and he's trying to slam that door sealed as shut as humanly possible. He's trying to finish him once and for all. And 50 then cycles back to the present day and shows us Diddy stressing out again about more accusations coming out.
This brokenness done got niggas motherfucking acting like motherfucking, you know when zombies get big? Yo, I'ma send you the shit right this fucking second.
What you talking about?
I'ma send it to you right now. I'ma definitely need you to go on the record.
He's so drugged up, you can tell in how slow he's slurring each word. And imagine recording this, like he really thought this was going to be part of some redemption story. That's the level of psycho he is. And that's the thing about psychos that makes them so effective, is they never know when they're beaten. And no matter how up against it they are, they can always, with the level of delusion that they have, think, I'm going to come out on top though. And that's what he thought. And they do go into the court case a little bit. They ask the jurors, look, why did you let him off with it, essentially? The worst things he was accused of, why did he not go down for those things?
Two people in love, you know, they are like overly love. They cannot explain. She wanted to be with him. He took her for granted. He never thought that she'll leave her. So it's like both hands clapping together. You cannot clap with one hand. The both hands like this, then you get the noise.
He's basically saying, look, it takes two to have a toxic relationship like that, and that she did want to be with him, and that she was consenting, which is a very simple way of breaking down how fucking crazy it was, but I get where he's coming from. There was just too much consent there from Cassie to convict them of what she was accusing them of, when she literally left him, met a new guy who she's now married to, and still would go back and cheat on him with Diddy. That's not the behavior of a woman who thinks he's such a monster and I don't want to be with him. And I could be here all fucking day explaining that out.
That Sean Combs is a violent person?
Based on that Intercontinental video, he can be.
This girl fucking really loved herself in this documentary, and apparently there's a photograph out there of her meeting Diddy earlier in her life. So a lot of people are saying, look, should she really have been on the jury? Which is a fucking fair point.
The defense was smart to say, hey, it's not against the law to be a bad person.
We could say he was a terrible person.
My client is not being charged with domestic violence.
But he said he's not charged with domestic violence.
Domestic violence wasn't one of the charges.
Exactly. And a lot of people are giving her a real hard time because she seems to fangirl a bit over Diddy. But this is all true. And that's not something you can blame anyone other than the government for. They went after him on things that were very hard to prove because some of it just wasn't true. And they did that because they agreed to get all of his fucking money. They could have gotten him on a domestic violence easy, and they ignored it. And in the documentary, they just try and make out like Diddy conned the jury with his fame and they were just in awe of him. And I think that this is a little bit where the documentary falls down, is because as bad a person as Diddy is and as guilty as he is of so many things, that's just not what he was on trial for. These women were consenting adults, grown adults, one of them was fucking 40, being paid to take part willingly in dirty acts, and their whole lifestyle was covered. And they did it so willingly, they did it for the best parts of a decade. And I think as much as 50 hates Diddy, and the goal here was clearly to character assassinate him, which he did fucking greatly, you could have told that level of the story as well, just to give it a bit more of a fuller depth. There was no coercion. They were willingly staying there and sending thousands of encouraging messages willing to be a part of this. But I think overall, 50 did a great job here in bringing together the full story of Diddy. We've seen from his upbringing how he was a mentally scarred person and that he wasn't raised with love and that he did view everyone as disposable. And while we already knew he was a terrible person to women generally, he's just an abusive, violent piece of shit, we didn't really know the full narrative around Biggie's death and the way he benefited from it, made sure he benefited from it on a financial level, but also on a fame level, and how little of a fuck he really gave about Biggie. That, for me, it tarnishes even the few remaining good memories that fans of Diddy can have of him. And it does make it a lot harder for Diddy to come back with his head held high, because he can't compartmentalize and say, this was a few people who accused me. This is about your actual story that you wrote in on. This is what gave you credit in the audience. I was a part of the Biggie story. That's tarnished now. Now, the question is, will he give up, right? When he gets out, will he just accept defeat? Like, 50 has finished him here. And the answer for me is fucking no chance. When you look at this story and you look at all the things he got away with, he didn't get away with them because he's a quitter. For all he's a piece of shit human being, he has certain qualities that made him successful. They don't just go away overnight. He beat a RICO case, right? Like he won against the government. For all he lost a few years of freedom, overall he won. And he was delusional enough to start this nonsensical documentary off in the first place because he was convinced he was going to make a comeback, clearly. That psychopath level of delusion ain't going anywhere. He's still going to think he can get out there and convince people and make people feel sorry for him. He's going to play every trick in the book. So I think we can guarantee he'll be back. And I think if there's one thing that the documentary couldn't really go that in depth on, it was just when certain people were talking, you're like, yeah, but Diddy might be Scarface in his own story, right? He was the hustler who, when he achieved it all, used his power to hurt people. He got high as fuck and became a drug addict piece of shit. In those mafia movies, the bad guy ain't surrounded by a bunch of good guys, and it's one bad guy and a bunch of good guys. Diddy was not surrounded by really great people who were just all victims of his nastiness. A lot of them were complicit in it. A lot of them were happy to go along with it while it was benefiting them, and it was only when it wasn't benefiting them that it became a problem. And for all he was a degenerate, he was also surrounded by degenerates. And I just don't think it's quite as simple as Diddy bad, everyone else good. Diddy the worst, right? No doubt about that. There's a lot of people who want angels in this story as well. So let me know what you think is coming in the future for Diddy when he gets released from jail. Will he be able to make a comeback, or will he have to fade away into obscurity and live in shame, as 50 Cent clearly wants him to? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you have enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe to the True Geordie YouTube channel. I really appreciate you all, especially the ones who click on the sponsors to help us keep making these videos. Thanks a lot. I'll see you on the next one.